Now finally, you also need to be familiar with photometric lights. Now these are just a whole other category of lighting in 3ds Max. So if we go over to our Create panel under Lights, you'll see we have a number of photometric lights. Now these are basically two basic types of light. One is a target light and one is a free light. And so I'm going to just go ahead and create a free light and just place that in the scene. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn on high quality rendering so we can see how that light affects the scene. Now one of the things you'll notice is that, well, I'm not getting that much light in the scene. And as you can see, this light actually does have by default a standard inverse square fall off. So this light is actually a real world light. And if we go over to the Modify panel, we can take a look at some of the parameters of this. Now the first thing about the light is, well, we can turn it on or off. We can also make the light targeted. So if you want to create a targeted light, you can do it at creation or you can do it later. So this is really the same type of light as the targeted light. Now just like with other lights, we can turn shadows on or off. And the type of shadow is pretty much the same. We can use ray traced, advanced ray traced, or shadow maps. The intensity of the light will be determined by the color. So we actually have a number of standard types of lights. So if you have a halogen or a fluorescent light, you can do that. We can also change the color of the light, either by Kelvin or by a filter color. And then we can also change the intensity of the light. So if you want a brighter light, you can just turn that up. Or we can just type in a number, such as 5,000. Now these numbers are all in physical real-world units. So you can actually duplicate the lighting in your scene to match that of your simulation. So if you're trying to design a building or something like that, you can match the light to the architecture. Now we also can change the shape of the light. Right now it's a point light, but you can also do a line light, which means this is very similar to a tube light or a fluorescent light. We can create a rectangle light. So this would be like a soft light or a soft box or something like that. We can do disc and sphere, cylinder, and so on. Now, in addition to that, we have standard shadow and shadow map parameters, as well as ray trace parameters if we're using ray trace shadows. And then finally, just like with standard lights, we can add atmospheres and effects to create things such as volume lights. So these lights are just a little bit different than the standard lights in 3ds Max, but if you're trying to simulate reality, they really are the way to go.